Hey, Rachel. So excited to have you here today. You guys, I say this every time, but you are in for another amazing treat today. Rachel, well, let me just start. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and what life is like?
Yeah, I'm Rachel. I am married for 7 years to the best man in the world. I have two wonderful kids. My oldest just turned 3, and then I have a 9-month old. And life is crazy in the best of ways.
Yeah. So you're a busy mom, and we were just talking in the midst of your kids not sleeping. So for all of you listening who are like, oh my gosh, it's too crazy of a season to get my health in order, Rachel's going to be a huge encouragement for you today. So she has
Yeah.
totally rocked your journey. Okay. So before we met and before we started working together, what were you frustrated about? What were some of what was going on in your life before you said yes to really getting this area of life into alignment?
Sure. I had steadily been gaining weight, and it was kind of under control. And then once I started having kids, I felt like it was just out of control. And I was so frustrated because I'm like, other people do this. It can't be too hard for me to do. There's got to be some way, but I don't know what it is. And I've had enough of no energy, of not being able to keep up with my kids. And I just had another one, and they're both insane, and they're boys and active. And I I refuse to have a life that I am sitting on the sidelines. And I refuse to have a life where I'm sitting on the sidelines now and I'm sitting on the sidelines 30 years from now when they have kids.
Mhm.
And so I was just really, but the whole eat less, move more just wasn't working. It just, there had to be more to it. And I was just kind of frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that picture of not wanting to sit on the sideline because so many of us, so we talk, the women that we talk to before they get started, they feel that way. And again, you're just such a
Yeah.
great inspiration that you can step onto the playing field,
Yeah.
and even if you feel stuck, you can make it happen. So, okay,
Yeah.
so then what made you say yes to working together? Like what was the shifting point?
I was kind of like at a breaking, shifting point in every area of my life. I was a stay-at-home mom for the first time when baby 2 came. My husband was, now sole provider, and there was just so much going on. And I remember the day before I saw your Facebook ad, I just closed my eyes, baby on one hip and kid in the other lap. And I was just like, you know what, God, I am just to a point to where I know you have more for us, but I know that something's got to change, and I don't know where to go from here.
Mhm.
And so I need you to just open some doors and direct my steps. And then the next day I saw your ad on Facebook, and it was just like the perfect timing. And I was kind of like, because I had never signed up for anything like this before. I had never pursued a health coach or a fitness coach or anything like that. And what really caught my attention was that you brought God into it, and that you were very open and bold and straightforward. And it was so refreshing, and it really piqued my interest. So then when we did when I just scheduled that free first call and we talked, it was just like that peace, just God saying, I meet your needs. I show up where you're at, and I open doors, and I'm going to make a way for you to walk through this one because this is a good thing. And my husband was like, if you have peace and if you're excited, then let's do this because I know that you can do it.
Oh
So,
my gosh. It's amazing that your husband was so supportive too, right? Can you
yeah.
speak to a little bit about, because I know a lot of women, especially if you're not bringing in income, have this hesitation about investing in themselves. Was there anything that made you decide like, okay, I need to do this?
Yeah, because I mean, we've been married for 7 years at that point. And he saw, how much dedication and how much I put into our family, and how I had kind of put myself to the side, and how in our marriage, I'd had plenty of opportunities to support him in things, and that, you know, God, we're always together financially. If we don't have peace about it, if one wants to do it and the other doesn't have peace, we're very respectful. We believe that God causes a marriage to be in unity. And so we've never really had a problem with that. And God had really set us up financially. We had an open doors beforehand before we went down to one job. And it was, in the world's perspective, I shouldn't have quit my job. I shouldn't have done all of these things. But you have to stop. And it was like, we're going to live our life following God's direction, no matter what it looks like to the world. And
Amen.
God said, if you ask, he will answer. If you seek, you will find. And so we just really got on our knees and just prayed for direction. And you know, I would love to have a 10-step plan, but usually it's one step the day before I have to take it.
Exactly.
And so it's kind of like, once you start hearing the voice of God, you recognize it, and you learn that obedience brings blessing, and that he provides each step of the way. So it was a big kind of scary step, but we had been taking a lot of big and scary steps, and it was exciting.
Yeah. So now we get to hear, like, okay, your obedience and your faith that he would provide, even when it seems scary, has led to a lot of changes. So tell us about what has shifted for you weight wise, and then in every other area of your life since you have gone through this journey in Fit Moms Academy.
Yeah. So I went in expecting to learn how to lose weight. And I have, as of this morning, I'm down 20 pounds, and I am so excited because I feel like I'm just starting. I feel like I'm just getting the hang of it. And I think I started the first week of March. So super excited about that. But what was unexpected was the freedom and the journey being so intimate with God. When you invite him into every area of your life, it affects more than you think it will. Like, he was just like the most gentle, it says his loving kindness draws us to repentance. It's his loving kindness that keeps us coming back. And he would just lovingly be like, Rachel, we're learning tools. Why do you find you need to go there when you're stressed? You know that I'm here for you. You know that I saw this coming, and nothing catches me by surprise. So learning that dependency on going to him for every feeling, and knowing that he equips me to have discipline. He has equipped me to have the fruits of the Spirit, and self-control is one of them. Kindness and patience with myself as I'm going through this journey, and not beating myself up. It was just like this beautiful eye-opener that he cares about every part of you. Yeah. He cares about things that you didn't know you had to deal with, and he's just waiting to walk through it with you. And that's just been the most beautiful, tender, unexpected part of this journey that I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah. So cool. And it's also been cool. Like, I think just even more on a practical level, like seeing, do you want to touch on like with your kids and getting them or your older kiddo involved? And
yeah, my oldest Linus, I would have to do the bribing. If you eat this, bite a vegetable, you can have dessert and that kind of thing. And like, I knew there had to be a better way, but at that point, this was just where it was at. He's a great eater, so it wasn't super hard, but it was still like convincing him each time. And I didn't say a word to him. I just eat the way that I eat. I prepare things. He likes to have fun and help me. And now he's grabbing vegetables and trying them and putting them on his plate and being engaged and involved just by watching me. And the other day he's just eating the carrots or the broccoli, like things that he doesn't mind eating but would never eat before unless I had incentive. And it's just been exciting to see it not be a big deal to have something new on his plate that's healthy for him, and experimenting with new things and getting involved. And And the other day he started running in place and said, "Look, mom, I'm working out."
Love that.
And like just the beautiful innocence and the reminder that we set a culture in our family. And if we have a positive environment that's centered around healthy choices and no condemnation, that our kids going to be a part of that. And that's what more could you want?
Yeah, for sure. I know. I think that a lot of times we have this limiting belief that like, okay, my kid is too young to enjoy this food. And then we
Mhm.
just think, but you're so right that they see you eating it. Like the other day, my daughter who's 3, she asked to eat salad and I like tried to play it cool, like, and she ate it.
Right.
So,
Sure.
so I think that like you've been such a good example of, okay, I'm just going to do the thing. And then hopefully my kid will come on board, and he has, which is so
Mhm.
awesome. And then your baby, he's
Yeah.
not going to know anything different.
Right. He eats all this, pretty much what I'm eating. He's doing steamed versions and trying new things and loving it. So I'm like, oh my goodness, how awesome is this going to be when that's just norm?
Yeah. And I love to just how you explain, like the term I think of for you during our time together is Rachel full of grace. Like you've had so much grace in yourself, which has been such a cool example to all the other women, because sometimes, a lot of times we're so hard on ourselves. Like, how did I get here? Why do I keep screwing up? But I love just how you explain that like God sees me tenderly. So I need to see me tenderly.
Mhm.
But there is also hope, and there's this reality that I want to change. Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And like you touch on, your identity is so much more than what you weigh. And I know no
Mhm.
matter where I'm at in the stage of life, God's love and view of me never changes.
Mhm.
But this is a distraction and it's preventing me from being all that I can be for him and for my family. So
Yeah.
it's been neat. Been a
Yeah.
good journey.
Yeah. And now you're walking even more in tune with that identity and that
Yeah.
purpose. And I can't wait to see what else
Yeah.
unfolds. It's
Yes,
so
I'm
exciting.
excited.
Yeah. So, okay. So if somebody was like, I don't know if this community is for me, would you recommend being a part of it? What would you say to someone who is considering joining us?
Yeah, I'd say if you're ready to get to the heart of the matter, to have a support system that focuses not just on practical tools for your physical well being, but also addressing your spiritual well being and your thought process behind it, um, it's it's time to invest in yourself. Like you have so much impact, and not just with your spouse or your kids or your immediate family, but people are watching and God has so much for you. So if you're distracted by concerned of how people see you or the lack of energy or your weight and how you look and your self-confidence, like God wants to meet you where you're at, and he has so much in store for you that taking this journey, you're only going to be the better for it.
Mhm.
It's just blesses you in every area of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. You're giving me goosebumps because you've just been such an amazing example of that, like it's been so cool to see you walk in that. So thanks, Rachel. Okay.
Of
So
course.
if you could give somebody one piece of advice, if they're struggling with their weight and they feel stuck and they feel hopeless, or if they feel like they felt like before you got started, what would you tell
Mhm.
them?
I would say take a breath, take it to the Lord, and do one step at a time. Like it's a journey. It's don't overwhelm yourself. Start with what you know, build a healthy habit with what you know, and then take another step and incorporate something new. So be patient and kind to yourself and show yourself grace, lean on God, and do what you know to do, and then continue growing and take it one step at a time.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And then it's not so hard, right? Because then,
It's not. And don't get caught up in everybody else's journey and how long it took them or how short it took them or what they did. Use it as a fun opportunity to learn about yourself and what your body needs as an individual and how to meet that need. I have so much more energy, and I'm just learning when my body reacts when I eat healthy carbs and when not to, and just things like that. It's just amazing how once you figure that out and have fun with it, it's like, let's do this.
yeah.
It's no longer intimidating and overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that too about your journey, because again, and I don't want you to be counting things for the rest of your life, or like measuring
No.
things, or like trying to figure out, I don't know. So it's our goal is that you have a simple understanding of food, and it's cool that you are listening to your body because it gives you all the signals that you need.
Yeah.
You just have to figure that out. So
Yeah.
cool.
And Kelsey walks you through the tools so it's not overwhelming. She, reminds you, take it one step at a time. Don't feel like you have to rush through it and do it only a week. If you need longer in one area, take longer. And having the, calls and the groups and everyone, kind of doing this journey with you, that accountability and that encouragement and the vulnerability, just knowing that everyone's in a different place in life, but they're also, fighting this fight together is just, it's a huge motivation. It's a huge eye opener, and it just really ministers and encourages you.
Yeah. Yeah. All you ladies are amazing. So
Mhm.
cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for sharing your story. I know that you have hit on several points that are going to resonate with a lot of women. So I'm sure if anyone has questions, they could probably reach out to you on Facebook and hear more about your story. But we really appreciate you being vulnerable with us today.
Thanks, Kelsey. Thanks so much for everything that you do for us.
Yeah, you're welcome.